Hey everybody, Grumels here with another Warthunder video. So, the patch 1.37 release is coming closer and closer, and I hope it will be out soon. But as I have said already in the last video, I do take it a bit slow till the patch is released. There are many updates to flight models and damage models, and most, if not all, of the planes that I had planned to make videos about are among them. That is great news, a lot of them need an update. But of course, I want to wait till the new patch is out before I make an in-depth video about them, otherwise the information in the video might be outdated by the time it is uploaded. After the patch is released, there are quite a few planes I want to make videos about though. Not just the new ones, but also some that are in the game for a while now, but I mostly avoided because of flight model problems. For example, I hope I can finally make a full video on the Wildcat in historic battles, or realistic battles as they will be called. A very nice plane, but with its current flight model, it's heavily locking up ailerons at rudder at anything but very low speed is really holding it back. Or the B-36 Hawk, also an effective plane already, but it currently has an underperforming roll rate in combination with an overperforming elevator authority among a few other issues. That makes this plane feel pretty unrealistic, and to be honest, with the roll rate this bad in my opinion, simply not very fun to fly. But that is supposed to change in 1.37. The roll rate will still not be great, I assume, but better than it is now, and the plane has an overall more realistic feel to it than pre 1.37. So I am really looking forward to making a few videos about those planes, and the new planes too, of course. For this video though, I thought I indulge a little bit more in 1.37 speculation, as always with some hopefully entertaining Warthunder gameplay in the background. Specifically, I want to talk about the matchmaking a bit, how I think it might work, and address a few concerns about it that came up recently. Just one quick update about the progression system first, in case someone has missed it. Gaijin changed it a bit, and now you don't need to fly a plane and unlock the modules anymore to activate the next plane's research. So as in pre 1.37, if you don't want to fly a plane, you don't have to. A very fair way of doing the progression system in my opinion. Now about the matchmaking in the new patch. My speculation here is still mostly based on what was said in the dev diary. I looked around a bit on the forum for extra info, but I did not find much. If there is some I have missed, let me know. And of course, most of what I say here is speculation and my interpretation of the information I have so far. We have to wait till the patch is live to see how much, if any, of it is true. Well then, as you know, the number of ranks in the deck trees has been reduced from 20 to only 5. And there have been some concerns on how this will influence the matchmaking and about the placement of many planes within this new 5-rank system. One example for that would be the British Hawker line. Here we have the Hurricane Mark II on rank 2, and right after it the Typhoon Mark 1A also on rank 2. The Typhoon is a very powerful plane, and of course on a completely different level performance-wise than the Hurricane Mark II or Mark 1 Spitfire, even though they are all on rank 2. So understandably, after seeing this, many people were concerned what this means for the matchmaking. Does the matchmaker consider a Hurricane equal to a Typhoon? And what if I fly a BF-109E1 also on rank 2? Do I have to face nothing but Typhoons because they are the strongest plane in this rank? Well, if the matchmaker would still work like it does in pre 1.37, this would indeed be a big problem. As you can read in the dev diary, the matchmaker took plane rank and player efficiency into account. If I understand this right, this means that the matchmaker would try to match the planes of the same rank against each other, and, as long as enough players are available, also tries to balance player efficiency out. So if there are enough players for 2 German versus British games at this rank, the matchmaker would try to have both games with somewhat equal teams, and not one game with a German team full of experienced players versus a team full of unexperienced British players, and another game with experienced British players versus inexperienced German players. The matchmaker should try to balance that out so that all 4 teams have a similar amount of experienced and inexperienced players. But what really matters for the ranking change is that the only other thing the matchmaker took into account was the plane's rank. That means, to the matchmaker, all planes on the same rank are equal in all game modes. So to give a simple example, the CR-42 Falco, Gloster Gladiator and I-153 Chaika are all on rank level 1 in the current system, so the matchmaker will treat them exactly the same, even though the planes are very different in their performance. That is why, in my opinion, there were 20 levels needed in the old system. Otherwise, the difference in performance of the planes on the same level would be too huge. With the new system, however, the matchmaker will not just use the plane's rank, but the efficiency of the plane within the chosen game mode. Now, that will potentially make a massive difference compared to the current system. I say potentially because again we have to try it to see how it really works. But that should mean that the matchmaker will not treat all rank 2 planes, for example, the same. I would assume a Typhoon has a much higher matchmaking value in historic battles than a Hurricane, even higher than a 109 F1 maybe. So even though it is a rank 2 plane, it will have a much higher chance of meeting rank 3 planes than other rank 2s like a Spitfire Mark IIA, for example. I don't know how much, if at all, the ranking of the plane will still influence this, but I fully expect to face mostly rank 3 Bf-109F and G when flying the Typhoon Mark 1A with the new system. Now, the obvious question here is, if that is the case, then why is the Typhoon in rank 2 in the first place and not rank 3? Well, let's speculate a bit about this. I think, at least in some cases, that might have something to do with the efficiency of the plane not being the same in the different game modes. There are of course many examples for that. The Spitfire Mark 5C in the current system is on level 12, far higher than the 5B Spitfire, but of course has 4 cannons. Now, I consider the 5C an amazing arcade mode plane, highly maneuverable and with heavy cannon armament. That is perfect for the typical low-level furballs and more forgiving damage model you will see in arcade. In arcade, I think rank 12 is justified for this plane. In historic battles, on the other hand, things look different. Here, other things like speed count for a lot more, and the 5C is hopelessly outmatched against 190s and higher level 109s it will face at this level. For the Typhoon Mark 1A, I would say the opposite is true, even though to a lesser extent. The plane is less well suited for the typical arcade playstyle than a Spitfire, for example, but a great plane in historic battles. Now, with the new system, the same plane can have a different matchmaking value and therefore be treated different by the matchmaker according to what game mode is chosen, no matter the rank. So one guess for the reason behind the sometimes a little weird placement of certain planes is that maybe that is the arcade placement. That should not be a disadvantage for historic and for real battle players if the matchmaker gets the matchmaking value for the planes in historic battle and for real battles right and matches the plane accordingly. There could of course be a number of other reasons, like simply unfinished tech trees. But again, as long as the matchmaking is done via plane efficiency, and assuming this efficiency is correct, this should not really matter that much. So, considering all this, I think even though it sometimes looks a little weird on the tech trees, if this system works the way I assume and hope it works, and it is implemented correctly, it should lead to an improvement of matchmaking in all game modes, because the matchmaking value can be different for the chosen game mode and reduced or increased for a specific game mode without affecting the others. One thing that concerns me a little bit is that this matchmaking value is most likely a hidden stat, so it will maybe be hard to find out what exactly it is and discuss if it is correct, but that is, for me at least, a minor concern. Well then, those are my thoughts on the 1.37 matchmaking. Let me know what you think. And this is it for this video. As always, I hope it was entertaining, thanks for watching, and maybe I'll see you next time.